The cultural world is primarily about the ordering and bordering of place. Evaluate this statement with reference to capitalism. The idea of culture is one that geographers continually struggle with. Raymond Williams stated that it was one of the most complex words in the English language. It is a combination of influences including religion, location, education, personal preferences, ideals and aspiration. Culture therefore is thought of not as an entity but as a dynamic process unique to everyone on the globe. It is a person's way of life. In the modern world, culture and society have become intertwined. A society cannot exist without a culture, and culture cannot survive if it is not perpetuated by society. The powers societies possess determine which cultures will exist and where. In turn, the power of culture on the people who are part of it will determine where and which places are created. Globally, capitalism is one of the largest external influences on culture. 80% of the world's countries have a capitalist economy, meaning over 5.6 billion people are exposed to capitalist ideals. This has caused the creation of unique and diverse cultures, yet who all share similar emotions. In Britain, the capitalist influence on our culture is obvious. The symbols for the culture are portrayed through adverts, which sprawl across huge spaces; high streets, the centre of cities which are capitalist hubs, full of shops, brands, bags and logos that are all unique yet easily identifiable; and shopping centres. These collection of retail outlets can be seen as sorts of monuments to capitalism and the ideals they strive towards. The high street can be seen as the heart of the city, and the people as the lifeblood it moves and the flows it controls. Ordering and bordering can clearly be seen here. The culture of capitalism creates both physical and metaphorical borders. Physical borders include physically defining the high street. Access to certain spaces is controlled by opening and closing times. In turn, these time periods are also the cause of metaphorical borders. The high street can be thought of as a passage, which people use, but when it is not the correct time, the high street, the passageway, is shut down and the flows and courses people make through it are stopped. This globalised take on capitalism, a one-size-fits-all mentality to ordering and bordering cultures across the world, is not always successful. Whilst many cultures share a capitalist influence, none are alike, and this can often be forgotten by multinational corporations that try to use a single approach to order and border all cultures. In 2004, Nike adverts were removed from Chinese television stations as a series of adverts were seen to be culturally insensitive. The adverts were described as violating regulations that mandate that all advertisements in China should uphold national dignity and interest and respect the motherland's cultures. Cultural symbols were the feet in the adverts, which were seen as the company's capitalist intentions to have a big impact on the Chinese culture. Unfortunately, this backfired. Capitalism is a progressive system concerning change and progress. As a result, it is not always cross-culturally sensitive. This failure in attitude is the cause of insensitivity. Insensitivity while looking at culture from any perspective is likely to lead to an incomplete viewpoint. Kofi Annan, former Secretary General of the United Nations, stated that tolerance, intercultural dialogue and respect for diversity are more essential than ever in a world where people are becoming more and more closely interconnected. When studying culture, sensitivity is required. The complexity of culture means being culturally sensitive will allow for a better understanding on how culture works. An example of how culture can have a huge impact on the success of capitalism is when an American company that manufactured golf balls packaged the balls in packs of 4. They were successful and began selling internationally. However, they were not so successful in Japan, where the number 4 holds the meaning of death. HSBC are another company that use cultural sensitivity to understand the varying cultures across the globe in order to increase the business they receive worldwide. In turn, their promotion of self-cultural sensitivity, using the tagline, "The world's local bank," is used to propagate their business. As the Nike adverts show, cultures do not always accept being ordered and bordered. Companies are often not in touch with the spaces they are located in and the significance of the place. Culture, defined by Anderson as the constituted amalgamy of human activity, is a very dynamic process, which is constantly changing and hard to fully understand. 2011 was the year of riots for many people. Many riots were caused globally by threats to a society's cultural identity, other clashes against the borders created by their culture. In the UK, riots spread across large cities. In Bristol, the district of Stokes Croft saw riots against Tesco's that had recently opened. The community saw this as a threat to their culture, and that Tesco, a multinational corporation, was attempting to bring order to their unique culture. In London, riots were caused against the social injustice that occurs across the city. These are the negative effects of a capitalist culture. The riots highlight the failure of capitalism to instill social dignity. Throughout the riots, emotions and identity have shown to be powerful aspects of culture and must be thought of separately to place. When a person from a culture is not at a place associated with them, they still feel the emotions that define them and their culture. Identity is how we present ourselves when we're away from the places we know. Place is defined as a human-wrought transformation of a part of the Earth's surface. Places are distinguishable from one another by the cultural meanings for which they're constructed. So when thinking from a cultural sense, a single space may be many places. An obvious example of this is the various sentiments of the clashing religious cultures in Israel and Palestine. Both Arabic and Jewish cultures have a firm belief that the space belongs to them, for a continued renewal of their culture over the last 1,000 years. Borders in this example are represented by the physical walls that have been used to separate the two cultures in attempts to reduce the conflict between the two. When we look at places that have been created in capitalist cultures, we see that attempts to create a sense of border have removed the uniqueness from place. High streets are becoming unrecognisable and the same brands fill the same shops with the same products. This is done so no matter which city you are in, you will know where to get the products you want. The feeling of place that one city's culture forms is undermined by the emotional entities that make up that place. Throughout this film, the principles of how culture is studied have been assessed. This film has shown that ordering and bordering is an attempt by capitalist companies to understand and control the cultures of Great Britain, and that trying to control places doesn't always work. This is due to more than just ordering and bordering of place being needed to understand culture. There are other components that create a culture. Identity is one aspect that must not be overlooked. Culture and identity shape each other, creating a social unity. Individuals contribute to culture from what their identities make them believe. Why a place is there is another key aspect of culture. Human experiences make up a place and are unique to everyone. Attempts to order experiences to understand them remove the emotions that create the culture in the first place. When studying culture, all the different aspects that are intertwined must be considered. If not, the concept is so dynamic that as it changes, it may be impossible to understand.